Hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome. So this is part 2 of our video lesson on 9.2. This is a very math-heavy lesson where, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be doing lots of simple math, but a lot of fill in the blanks and just finding out the various aspects. We're going to be writing equations in two forms. Vertex form, which is a, and then it's x minus h squared plus k. And then we're also doing standard form. You guys know standard form as what? That is the ax squared plus bx plus c form. Okay, we have to find these forms. Here's the kicker, okay, is you guys don't know what these are, or you don't know what these letters represent. So what we're going to do is these letters up here are actually, most of them are right here. So this is what I mean. Your vertex is actually your h and your k. So underneath here, I'd want you to write h comma k. All right, your h value. So you guys remember when we were doing the transformations earlier this week, we took a u value, right? The u value would be at 0, 0. And then what happens is you move this equation all around and you flip it and you move it and it ends up over here, right? So here's your original and then you move it all around, you got a point right here. Well, that point is your vertex, so you know how many units you moved it over and how many units you moved it up. So that's what your h and your k value are. Okay, so guys, just know that's h and k. And then if you're given a point on the line, this of course is your x and your y, right? So I want you to start off by writing that. So this is vertex is our h and our k value. And then this is going to be your x and your y value, right? Same here, h comma k. And then you'd have x comma y. All right, so there's your points. So your first step, so on your is, we have every value, but we're missing the letter A. So the first thing you have to do, so on your notes, all the way on the left-hand margin, number 1 is find the value of A. All right, so we're going to find the value of A. So this is what we're doing. We're taking the original formula over here and we're plugging in our values. All right, so I'm going to write this out. You don't necessarily have to. It's f of x equals A, and then it's x minus h squared plus k. All right, so now we're going to fill in everything. This is what I mean by that. F of x is the same as y. So our y value is 1 equals A. Because we don't know what A is. Do we know what x is? We sure do. It's -4 minus, do we know what h is? Yes, it's a -2. So it's a -2, which makes this a, so it's -2 squared. Do we go minus minus? The answer is no, we do not. We actually combine those, make that a plus, right? And then it's k plus k. So at the end of this, my k is a 5, so it is a positive number. Now we have all these in here, we need to solve for this value. Okay, so -4 and 2 is a -2, so this is going to be 1 equals A, and then it's going to be -2 squared plus 5. All right, now I'm going to do a couple different things here all in one shot. And this is going to be squared, so this is going to be, and this -5, we're isolating the A, right? So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. And when I do that, I get -4 equals, and then what is -2 squared? It is actually 4, so it's 4a. Hopefully you guys caught what I just did there, right? So I took this, and let me use a different color. I used this functionality right here. I went from here to there, so that you guys understand, and I put it in front. I could put a to the 4th, but most of you would be like, what? So I just threw it in front. It doesn't matter if it's in the front or in the back. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is simple solving. 5 by 4 divided by 4. A equals -1. All right, now that we have our A value, we can actually write our vertex form of the equation, right? So now we have our vertex form. So it's going to be, you guys know, back up at the top, right? Or I have it right here. So it's going to be f of x. So on your notes, you'll have a look. You might run out of room, so make sure you write small or get a separate piece of paper. F of x equals my A value, which is -1/2, and then it's x minus, and then it's h, which my h is what again? negative 2, so that's plus 2, and then it's plus 5, and it's squared. So this right here is vertex. Okay, so congratulations, we did a vertex form. Yay! Now you need to change it into standard form. So what you guys have to do is multiply this all out and make it a trinomial, right? Ax squared plus bx plus c. So what you have to understand is you have to take this piece and multiply it out. So on the very left-hand margin over here in your notes, and I'm going to write it over here, but don't write it over here. On the left-hand margin, underneath this table value, I would want you to put a Punnett square. Okay? And remember, this is what the Punnett square is going to look like. So I've got to do it here because I'm running out of room. It's x and 2, right? So x squared, x plus 2 squared would be what? Be x squared, 2x, and a 4. So I want you to bring this back into here at that point. So it's f of x equals, it's a negative 1. So you just go negative 1, and then you bring the trinomial in. X squared plus 4x plus 4, bracket, and then you have a plus 5 at the end. Hopefully you guys understand how I go from here to here. It's a culmination of everything we've been doing so far. Now we got to distribute. You got to get rid of this little a value in front. Get rid of this negative. So it's going to be f of x equals negative x squared minus 4x minus 4. And then don't forget, plus 5. This never changes. But these two terms in the back, ladies and gentlemen, do. What's negative 4 plus 5? It is plus 1. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is your standard form. Everybody get it? Complicated, but not really. It's everything we've been learning. If you've struggled throughout this year with any of these steps, you won't be able to do this. If you struggle with it, you should come see us during our office hour time, okay? All of us are required to have it. We will have it. Come see us. It's very important that you guys can do this math. It's a challenge for you, and I hope it's a challenge that you accept. All right, next one here. We're going to start again, all right? Vertex form. I'm not going to write it out this time. I'm just going to do straight up f of x. So this is going to be 6 equals. I don't know what my a is, but remember it's x minus, so it's 3 minus, and my h value, which is 2, and then that is squared plus 4. Okay, so now you just solve. Simple setup again. So this is going to be 6 equals 3 minus 2 is 1 squared. It's a plus 4. Subtract 4 from both sides, and you would get, I'll go over here, a equals 2. Yay, simple. All right, next. All right, now you need to make your vertex form. So here's your vertex form of your equation. It is f of x equals 2, and then it's x minus my h value again, which is not 3. Basically what you can do, guys, is you notice, you can take the back half of this equation right here, and you can actually plug it in right here. So it'd be f of x equals 2, and it's going to be x, it'd be minus 2 squared plus 4. Right? That's it. Any questions on that? So there's my vertex form. So this is one form you need. And then what you would do is multiply these things out. Okay? Here as you go through this. So same thing. It'd be x minus 2 if I did a Punnett square, and it'd be x minus 2 right here. Okay? Now you solve it out. So this would be x squared, negative 2x, and that would be a 4, right? So now you simply solve it out. So this is going to be f of x equals 2, and then it's x squared minus 4x plus 4, and then it's positive 4 at the end. Now you got to distribute. Distribute this in. So you'd have f of x equals 2x squared, and then 2 times 4 would be minus 8x, and it'd be plus 8, and then you can have the plus 4 at the end. Combine those terms, And ladies and gentlemen, here it is in standard form. All right, there's that one. And I'm gonna give you guys one more example, okay? Hopefully you guys are following along on this math, all right? First step is to find the A. Then after you find the A, you can put it back in, use the Punnett square to multiply it out. Then you combine like terms and you get your two forms. So here's the standard and here is, whoops, did not want to do that. There's standard and here is vertex. Oh, you stink. Here is vertex right here. There's our two forms. That's what it's asking you to do. So you got to find those. All right, last one. And then you guys are going to have to take it on yourself. Okay, so on this one here, and then there's a bunch on these papers, and so I'll make sure I'll go through maybe a couple more with you guys. I gave you a total of 9 examples on the notes, just to give you guys a really good practice run on this. So what you want to do is on this, same thing, it's going to be the x or the y value. So it's going to be 0 equals, and then it's a, and then it's going to be your x, which is 1, minus h, which is 3, and then that is squared, and then it's going to be minus 4, right? Because that's your k. Now you simplify this up. When you simplify this up, it's going to be 0 equals a, and then that's a negative 2. Negative 2 squared would be a what? A 4. So please make sure you guys know it's 4 minus 4, right? And so now we'll change this up. Add this over to here. So you get 4 equals 4a. Divide both sides by what? 4. So you have a equals 1. All right, so there's your 1 value. Now you write your equation. So it's f of x equals, I'm not going to put a 1. If my a value is 1, you just leave it blank if you want. And it's going to be x. And then like I said before, you can take this last half. X minus 3 squared minus 4. Just like that. So there's my vertex. Now you got to multiply it out to make it your standard form. This one's relatively simple. I'm not going to do the Punnett square because I can do this in my head. So this is going to be f of x equals x squared. And then it's minus 6x plus 9. How do I know that? Use the Punnett square and find out. Minus 4. And then you would add, do the x squared minus 6x. 9 minus 4 is 5. There is standard form. All right, so what I want you guys to do is there are 6 more examples on your notes. I want you guys to take your time, go through these. Try to figure out these questions right here. There's a lot of information on here. You can see a ton of color. All right, I want you guys to practice this next 6. Pause the video. Try yourself. If you can do these successfully, you guys will do very well. All right, so pause the video and you guys get started. All right, same thing. So we're going to do the vertex form. Make sure as you're going through this, so hopefully you guys paused it and tried all of these by yourself, right? You may have to make a supplementary video for this because I'm going to back out a couple times here. I may split this video up into 3 pieces so you guys can have all of these examples separately. So it'll make it easier for your brains and for mine. All right, so here's the HK functions, right? So remember the vertex form of the equation is f of x equals, and then it's a x minus h squared plus k, right? Okay, so let's go through this. So f of x is going to be negative 5 equals a, because that's what we're looking for. Our x is 3, our h is 5, that is squared, and it's minus 1. Now we got to find this. So this is negative 5 equals, that would be negative 2 squared, which would be 4a minus 1. And now you simply solve this up. Add 1, add 1. So you have negative 4 equals 4a. So my a is negative 1. Okay, now you plug that in. So here is your vertex form. It is negative 1 x minus 5 squared minus 1. All right, there's vertex. Now you got to make it to standard. So what you do now, ladies and gentlemen, is multiply this bad boy out, right? F of x equals, and then, like I said, I know how to do this in my head. When you guys get good with, especially with a squared function like this, You guys will be able to do this in your head. It's 10x plus 25, and then it's minus 1. Now the key is the negative is going to switch all the signs, distribute that in. It's going to be negative x squared plus 10x minus 25 minus 1, which means it changes this last term. So here is your standard form. All right, next one here, HK. So we got your 8 equals. We don't know what A is, but my X is going to be negative 2, and my H now is a negative. Remember, it's always supposed to be negative, but it's a 4, so it's going to be positive 4 squared, and then my K is plus 4. All right, so I'm trying to find A, so that's going to be 2. 8 equals 4A plus 4. If you don't know how I got that, you guys should be able to figure out that math in your head. Minus 4 on both sides, you get A equals 1, right? Because you have 4 equals 4A. Okay, now here's your vertex form. F of x equals, I'm not putting a 1 in front of it. Could I? Yes. Am I? No. Okay, x minus h, but it's a k, so remember it's just the back end of this original one you did up here. There's vertex form. Now we're going to multiply it out for standard. So this is going to be f of x equals x squared plus 8x plus 16 plus 4. So my final form is this. Yeehaw. Okay, and then the very last one, ladies and gentlemen, on this little row of sections would be negative 5 equals A, and then it's x again, so that'd be 1 minus h, so that's a plus 1, and then it's going to be plus 3. So this would end up being, let me make sure I got that right, x minus h, yep, okay, sweet. So it's going to be negative 5 equals a plus 3. Oh, wait, it's 2a. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then you do your simple math on this. So you would subtract 3 from both sides. So I get negative 8 equals 2a. So a is negative 4. All right, make sure I got that one right. Hey. Hold on, I think I messed that one up. No, 2a, negative 3. Oh, I did mess that up, because this is supposed to be squared. I'm like, I know I'm messing this up. So let me back this up. This is what happens when you go too fast. So this part is right. Sorry. My bad. All right, so I'm going too fast. All right, so you would have 2 squared is 4. And so you would have negative 8 equals 4a. So a is, in fact, a negative 2. Okay, and then as you go through this, if a is negative 2, you plug the values in here. So it's f of x equals negative 2. And then it's x plus 1 squared plus 3, right? So there's your vertex form. Now you need to multiply it out, like we said earlier. Once you multiply this out, hopefully you guys did this on your own. It's going to be negative 2, and in here is going to be x squared plus 2x plus 1, and then it's going to be plus 3. And then you distribute the negative 2. So it's negative 2x squared, right? And then negative 2 times 0 would be negative 4x. And then negative into there, it would be negative 2 plus 3. So when you add that 3 to the end, so here's actually your equation. Long, ladies and gentlemen, but you guys should be able to get it, right? Okay, other questions on this? If you have it, ask your teachers, okay, please. All right, one last section. Work on these ones as well, ladies and gentlemen. If you've already done this section, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, go. All right, this very last section here, we're going to be setting up this little part I want to make sure you guys can do this as well. Like I said, remember the guided practice. Well, that's a bad color to have in here. Remember the big thing with this is going to be f of x equals, and then it's a x minus h squared plus k. Okay, remember that's your function. So remember this is your h and your k value. That's your x and your y. Here's your h and your k. Here's your x and your y. And we go through this whole setup, right? Okay, so make sure you guys know your y value here. So this is going to be 9 equals a, and then it's x. So it's 4 minus 2 plus 1. And then I'm just going to blow through the other side of this. So let me make sure. I'm going to keep going along the right here. So this is going to be negative 4 equals a, and then it's x minus. So it's going to be 2 minus 4 squared plus 4. And then this last one would be negative 2 equals a. And then once again, it's going to be negative 2. And it's h, so it's going to be plus 3 squared plus 2, right? So make sure you guys have your setups appropriately, and now you solve accordingly. So I'm going to go back to the first one, and I'll solve and finish this one out. So this would be, oh, I forgot the squared on that one. So this would be 2 squared, which would be 4. So it would be 9 equals 4a plus 1. Make sure you subtract both sides by 1. So you have 8 equals 4a, divide by 4, a equals 2, right? So this one here, I'll just keep moving. I'll go over here on this next one. This would be same thing. It'd be negative 4 equals 4a, because 2, that's a negative 2, but you square it, plus 4. All right, so when you subtract 4 from both sides on this one, you get negative 8 equals 4a. So you get a, once again, is negative 2. And then the last piece here is, this would be a 1, right? So it'd be 1 squared. So it'd be negative 2 equals a plus 2. Then you would just subtract 2 from both sides, and you'd get a equals negative 4. All right, so we have our a values. Now we can finish up these quadratics. Here's your vertex form. F of x equals 2, and then it is x minus 2 squared plus 1. Vertex form here would be f of x equals negative 2, and then it's going to be x minus 4 squared plus 4. And then the last one here would be f of x equals negative 4x, and then it's going to be what? Plus 3 squared plus 2. And there are your vertex forms. Now make sure you multiply them out. And as you're going through that, when you multiply these out, it'd be f of x equals 2. And then you have x squared minus 4x plus 4. And then it's plus 1. And then do the distribution of the 2. So it's 2x squared minus 8x plus 8 plus 1. And here's your final setup. And you are now done. This one here, same thing. Do your distribution first. So first off, you would do your Punnett squared to figure out what this is. I know that it's x squared minus 8x plus 16. And then it's plus 4. And then you gotta multiply into negative 2. So this gets a little tricky here. Whoops. Distribute in the negative 2. So you have negative, oh, don't do this to me again. All right, negative 2x squared, positive 16x, and then that is a negative 32 plus 4. Make sure that's right. Yep. Okay, and then the last piece is you just add them together. And that is a 28. There's your standard form. The very last one here, be negative 4 in the front, x squared plus 6x plus 9, and then you have a 2 on the end. Do the distribution on this one. So this would be negative 4x squared minus 24x minus, 9 times 4 is 36, plus 2. So your final answer comes out to be very standard form. A lot of math. Hopefully you guys did well on your own with this. If not, please talk to one of us. Okay, it's going to get a little bit more complicated and easier as we go through this process. We're on the homework. Make sure you guys can solve these and write these quadratic forms in both standard form and vertex form. Good luck. I know you guys can do it, but make sure you shoot us an email or message us on Reminder, or however you're contacting your teachers if you're struggling. Good luck, be safe, and I look forward to hearing and seeing from all of you soon.